Today on New England Living, we'll visit a Cambridge home with a unique connection to the outdoors. And we'll check out a luxurious modern home serving a simpler, healthier lifestyle. Plus, executive chef Carl Dooley grills up one of his ultimate summertime favorites. It all starts right now on New England Living. New England is full of adventure. I can't believe you guys are letting me do this. Up and away.
Look at that. Oh, you just did your first takeoff.
Join me as we discover the people and places that make us so unique.
This is it. You can't find it anywhere else in North America.
I mean, does it get any better than this? Love the place you call home with New England Living. Thanks for joining us today on New England Living. I'm your host, Rachel Holt. First up, how to harness the power of daylight with interior designer Abby Flores. In an urban setting like the one we're in, it's all about maximizing space. What are some ways that you were able to achieve that here?
The design, the architecture of the house was fantastic in terms of how it really opened up and took what was originally a pretty small footprint and added so much to the house. The homeowners were very interested in being true to the historic neighborhood that they're in and being true to the vintage of the house. So as you come in the front door, you get this really interesting balance of simplicity and beauty with the staircase. And then when you get to the living room, it's this explosion of texture and color and pattern. Once you get up into the primary suite, it's really interesting because part of the addition on the back of the house gave this big tall vaulted ceiling and these big open windows. And when you're in that space, even though you're surrounded by other homes not that far away, it's completely private. There's a huge tree in the background and you just look up at it. It's really an interesting way to realize that even in an urban setting and even with big open windows, you can still have privacy.
In this kitchen specifically, it's so light, it's so airy in here. How are the windows and doors playing into the decisions that you made as a designer?
The specification was done by the architect, but what is wonderful from my perspective is how open this space can be. When you pull these doors all the way open, you really are expanding out into the outside. It's almost like the outdoors is just an extension of this space. I love how it came out in terms of that balance between layered and collected and still modern and minimal, and I think it's really successful.
Another key member of the design team was architect Tom Murdo. Tom, as the architect, what was your vision for this house?
It's a small house, it's on a tight urban lot, so we wanted to add some space. In addition to that, add some light and bring in some of the exterior to the interior, which makes the building feel larger. We also are in a historic context, so the building's over 100 years old, and we wanted to make sure that the front of the building was historically appropriate and that on the backside, it could be informal and open to the landscape where the clients could enjoy the outdoors.
Given that we are in an urban setting, how are you able to help bring the outdoors indoors?
So the Marvin lift and slide is a great example of one of the strategies we use to do that. It's floor to ceiling, it's a wide panel door and a fixed light next to it. And so that expansive opening allows visibility to the outside. The sun can come in, there's plenty of sunlight. The lift and slide can remain open. Passage is not an issue. It makes for really great informal living.
What's the importance of working with the right partners on a project like this?
Well, especially with windows, the Marvin product line offers a lot of versatility and flexibility in terms of meeting the different goals that this project had, from the historic front side of the building to the more open and sort of informal and more modern back side of the building. We were able to select windows that are unique sizes, custom sizes, because the old window openings don't always fit a standard size window.
And when it comes to windows, working with the right partners is essential, says builder Nathan McBride.
The hardware, the fit and finish, and the general set of options that's available with Marvin is still above and beyond what's available from other manufacturers. For example, here we're standing in a room with a lift and slide door in it. It's complicated to make, it's complicated to install, there's a lot of moving parts to it, but to actually bring it into the project, get it sized and ordered and spec'd and everything is really straightforward. And then when it arrives, we know that it's going to be up to the standard of the rest of the Marvins in the house.
What does a door like that add to this room in terms of bringing light in and bringing the outdoors in?
Well, one of the things that's cool about these is that when they're open, they're almost not there. So it pushes out of the way and it's wide open to the elements. And that's pretty unique to these type of doors. I like the fact that, when they designed the space and conceived it, Tom and Abby, the architect and the designer, came up with really like a sort of a separate enclave in the house. When it's open to the back, it feels like you're in a cabin somewhere, with neighbors around you, but it doesn't feel like you're in the rest of the home almost in a way. It feels separate and like it's got its own character. I really appreciate that, and I think having that direct connection of letting the door just slide out of the way is a big part of that.
With each of those openings that we create in the building, or the ones that had existed, allows us to orient towards the sun and allow sunlight to fill the space. The house in some ways registers the passage of the sun throughout the day. It's almost registering time.
There's lots of different nooks throughout this house that are set up to be enjoyed at different times of the day based on where the light is coming in. I love the powder room. It's a fun area of pop. We picked a great wallpaper and used a high gloss paint. It's such a fun place to have a little freedom and let something be like a little jewel box for a house. One thing that we did in the living room was added a fabric valance at the top. It's actually just a detail. There is kind of a sheer or window treatment that goes under it so that they do have privacy in the front of the house. But it's a way to add a little bit of decor and detail to the windows while still keeping them as open as possible.
What are some trends that you're noticing lately, especially when it comes to urban living?
Creating comfortable seating, living areas that can be right outside your door. And when you have big open windows, it is also expanding the footprint of your house. Being out in the fresh air is so important for all of us, and so the more you can enjoy that, the better.
Coming up after the break, we'll check out a newly constructed home designed for the modern lifestyle. When New England Living returns after this.